You're seeing it everywhere. We joke around that even a car wash is a subscription based monthly fee that you have anymore. So if we're moving things into an operational expenditure, we're seeing vendors wrap the service up into a monthly charge. And then rather than leaving it to the own internal IT team, in a sense, you're really outsourcing that. At Roto-Rooter, do you kind of see that same philosophy shift?
Absolutely. And we've embraced that with some of the newer technologies that are out there, whether it's our data center, hosting that and services outside of our four walls. We've leveraged that to some other services that are outside, especially with cloud computing, with Azure, with some other services. We definitely are starting to put more and more emphasis around the OpEx model and investing in the technology as a service and not just bringing it into IT and absorbing it, if you will. So I would say, from my side, I started 8.5 years ago. I would say it was an 80-20 split, heavy on the CapEx side. And over the 8.5 year period, it's now more of a 50-50 split. And we'll strike that balance as opportunities come up.
Right. I think you're dead on where, 8 years ago, we saw more 80-20. Now it's closer to the 50-50 mark. And it's interesting to see. And it's nice to know that people are seeing that same momentum towards as a service as well. So something else that I'm really seeing is the mergers and acquisitions. Are you guys seeing that a lot in your industry as well?
Not as much as you would from other industries. Plumbing typically will have local brands that are pretty entrenched within the communities. Roto-Rooter started off 80 years ago really as a franchise-based model, and that was a nationwide model. Over the last 30 years, we've been really acquiring our franchises back into our corporate landscape. And that's because, the franchises were ready to more or less, exit out of the plumbing stage. So for us, it's a little bit of a different model of going, we have the same brand, we're just consuming back the franchise and taking it into our corporate landscape.
Okay, interesting. So I'll leave you with this last question, and I'm sure it's not the first or last time somebody's going to ask you this, but a couple months ago, people were starting to open back up, hiring again, and getting really back to work, and it somehow appears that we're heading back in the opposite direction with COVID, with the Delta variant. So given we'll call it 2 years of experience of dealing with COVID, what are some of the key takeaways moving forward that you'll take away and really adjust your practice with your field moving forward?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think most CIOs and technology officers face that same question. I can't emphasize enough is to reinvest back in your business. I get up on the pedestal every year to talk about not only what's happening in our industry, but what's happening in all the industries. And I was very fortunate to be able to build an infrastructure and services that really translated into being flexible anywhere, anytime services. So not only with our virtual servers, virtual telephony, our CRM platform as a service, we basically were able to take our business and work from it, anywhere at any time. So not only our call centers, but then our branch locations, and then the field technicians have their vans. So, it's really having the ability to take your technology, whether, it's on your laptop, your mobile phone, being able to log in with broadband and service your company remotely is critical. And I think COVID has really opened a lot of eyes to that. A lot of CIOs like myself have been saying, we need to go to VMware, we need to go to vSphere, we need to do these things to be flexible, but it is an investment. And I can only encourage people to take those next steps into, the cloud technology, whether you want that to be public cloud, private, hybrid, but leverage that, invest back in your people, invest back into the business so that they can be flexible and nimble at any time. And that's what we've experienced.
So what you're saying is you're prepared?
As best as I can. Everybody will ask me, how secure are we? Are we 100% secure? And I will always say that I'll never 100%, but I think we're in a good state. I sleep a lot better at night. I do worry about, certain things, but for the most part, I feel like we're in a good place.
Good. Well, Paul, thank you very much for joining me today. If you'd like to see more, please visit ComSpark.tech for additional interviews. So, Paul, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.